following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
On the ones and twos, we straight.
It is Thursday, November 20th, 2025, Season 21, Episode number 81. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. All right. Today we're talking Cowboys versus Eagles, specifically Cowboys offense versus Eagles defense. We will get into that probably around the second segment. We'll see how long this first segment takes and what the little topics I have for you guys. We want to start first with injuries and Cowboys injury report. Although it looks lengthy, most of the players were limited. Now, there was a walkthrough yesterday, so it's kind of a little bit. We'll see today what it looks like in a normal practice, what their designations are. But Dak Prescott popped up on the injury report with a hip limited. What do we know about that? Because that's obviously the most important of any injury on this team right now.
Yeah, I think it's okay there. I think that he just got banged up in that game. He took a couple of different shots, moving around there in the pocket and stuff like that. But it seems like that everything, it's kind of a wear and tear situation there. So it shouldn't be anything that too pressing right now for your quarterback.
They had two defensive ends that ended up on the injury report, both limited. Jadeveon Clowney with a shoulder/neck, something I'm very familiar with, and Dante Fowler with a shoulder. Anything we're hearing about those two and in the severity of those?
No, it was nothing that was going to cost them any playing time, though. It was again, they're getting to the point in time, and this is where it's going to be a little bit rough for some of these guys because you got the 3 games in like 11 days in a short period of time. So if they can grab a day or two for to get a guy, not some practice time, maybe a little rest, that's going to help. But there was nothing that I got that was any pressing on those as well.
One thing interesting, Tyler Smith is on the injury report. He's been on the injury report with this knee.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice as you watched him this last game, after having the bye and some time to kind of let that thing rest a little bit, did you see any difference in kind of how he's moving? By the way, he's been battling through this thing and giving you good reps, but obviously he's having to battle through some injuries. What did you see in this last game from him?
The thing about Tyler is that he's either healthy Tyler or he's like looking a little stiff. You know what I mean? Like there's not like he's in the middle the whole game. Like he's still who he is. He still can, get some big movement and push. It's just that I think some of the movement things are kind of limiting him a little bit. And that's been the story about the Cowboys pass rush or the pass blocking unit is movement, slants, gap exchanges kind of get you a little bit. But him in particular, he ain't turning all that well. But if he's moving forward, he's fine. He's good.
Voch has got it. And if you look at the Max Crosby sack fumbles thing, he was trying to block too, and they have not been as coordinated as they needed to be on these gap exchanges like Voch is talking about. And you could tell that as he's trying to block, he gets turned and he can't pivot back to get Max Crosby coming on the loop. And it's going to be this way the whole year. I mean, the remainder of the season. It's something that's just going to be rest, and he's going to battle through these things. But there are going to be times where he's probably not going to be as mobile as we've seen him in the past, and it's just that's the trade-off of what he's dealing with right now.
Yeah, Solomon Thomas missed the game last week with the calf injury. He was limited in practice yesterday. What are we hearing for him?
Yeah, the calf injury stuff is always a kind of a difficult one to deal with. And so that's where I feel like, though, that maybe, again, with these games being so close together, we'll see. They're going to try and monitor the situation and see what happens as they get closer to game time. But these calf injuries are not something that you just kind of say, okay, well, it's a sprained thumb and he's back, or jammed finger and he's back. It's something that he's honestly going to have to work through. They got to be very careful, though, as he goes along during the week, if he's not out there doing more then I don't think he'll play. But we'll see as we get here into Friday.
All right, so I wasn't here yesterday, so I'm not quite sure if y'all talked about Perry and Winfrey from the standpoint of he certainly is now a full participant in practice. What happens when he's healthy and they're ready to put him back out there or put him out there? Who is the odd man out? Because I assume there's going to be an odd man out, right?
First of all, sir, do you know who you left in charge yesterday?
Yeah, the substitute.
But you know,
Of course
the funny thing before the show,
Yeah.
and I thought of this, I didn't tell you because I'm like, why are you even asking me? Because I know you're gonna do whatever you want anyways. But he asked me before the show. He's like, hey, what did y'all talk about to make sure we don't hit?
Yeah.
The main thing I said, we focus on Eagles offense versus Cowboys defense, and we talked about Damone Clark
Yeah.
and Perrion Winfrey.
You said Winfrey?
Yeah. Literally only gave
I
you
don't
3
remember you saying
things,
that.
and he was one of them. That's it.
My bad.
But if you want to talk about it again, I mean, we can run it back for the people that.
No, you don't have to run. That's why I was asking for my own.
What's the next topic on the list?
I think Perrion is going to be Solomon Thomas till Solomon Thomas gets back.
And what happens when Solomon Thomas gets back? Because he is limited now.
Only the Lord knows. That's up to them people over there. But
What would you do?
I think I need to see what Perrion looks like in a football game versus the Eagles, and then that'll kind of give me an idea. I honestly think that your tackle group is much better than your edge group as a whole.
Yeah.
So if I'm only looking at having a couple of edges now, I'm looking for places to put tackles because all my tackles are kind of built differently. Like Toei is a guy that's going to be head up over the center and maybe shading the A gap, but he won't be anywhere else. I think what you have in these bursty guys like Solomon, like Perrion, and like Osa is that they can bump out to the 4-eye a little bit, head up over the tackle, even the outside shoulder sometime at a 5. So I think you have a little more versatility with those guys to kind of move them around. So if I'm whoever in charge of defense or whatever, I would look at Perrion and be like, hey, man, let's see how you look out there just to see if we can get a little bigger out there.
Did I not see this? I thought I remembered back during training camp there were some times that we saw him, or maybe even preseason, we saw him outside. Is that something that was true?
That's part of what he does since he was in college, since he was a Brown Jet. He's been a guy that plays anywhere from the 0 to the 5.
Yeah.
So I can see Solomon doing that just like Osa did. Like there's visual evidence of Osa doing it last week versus the Raiders. So I can definitely see Winfrey doing something like that.
All right, let's flip over real quick before we take our first break. Talk about some of the injuries for the Eagles. Some significant, interesting injuries. Lane Johnson, I suspect he's going to be out this game.
Yep.
The way they were talking is he's out.
Yep.
But I don't know if that's been declared, formally.
I would
But
say he's probably going to be out.
Yeah, he has a foot injury. Cam Jurgens, their center, also did not practice yesterday with a concussion. And then Jalen Phillips, the defensive end that they just picked up, had a big game for them last weekend. He was limited with a shoulder. Let's first talk about the offensive line. Sure. Not having Lane Johnson, how much of a big deal is that for the Philadelphia Eagles?
It's massive. Lane is a dude. Lane, as old as he is, steady, good, solid, nothing bad happens to him. But I think you really have an opportunity to go take care of old Fred Johnson over there. I've been saying that name for 3 weeks just to see if y'all picking up on it. But Freddie ain't Lane Johnson. So I think you have a great opportunity to take advantage of everybody from the left guard to the right tackle in that way. What I kind of noticed from the Cowboys the past 2 games is that Donovan and Clowney don't change sides all that much. So what happened is Clowney would be over the right tackle, the left side of the defense, and Donovan Ezaraku would be on the other side over the left tackle. Hey, man, any other situation, that's cool. But, hey, Flus, you looking? Hey, man, find a scrub, dog. That's kind of what we call on the internet in cowboy land. Find a scrub. You don't have to just put Donovan Ezaraku over Mailata the whole game. That may not be a plus matchup for us. Take your best pass rushers, which are Donovan Ezaraku and James Houston, and put them over old Freddie. See if Freddie can keep up. And if Freddie plays a good game, then cool, that's good on Freddie. But I'm at least going to try. I'm going to look at this Eagles offensive line. I'm going to find out what everybody's bad at. Dickerson, very strong, but he's not turning very well right now. I'm going to get my bursty tackles. I'm going to make Dickinson turn a little bit. I'm going to run stunts and gap exchanges over there, and I'm going to do that. Tyler Steen and Brett Toth, the backup center Toth and Tyler Steen, the right guard there, they not all that powerful. Boy, I got 2 strong people.
Push 'em.
And Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark. So I'm going to be playing matchup across the whole line if it's me, but that ain't me. Flus, I hope you listen.
The metrics say that this
He does.
the metrics say this is a different offensive line without the offense is different without Lane Johnson playing. When you look at yards per attempt, when it comes to running the football, when it comes to throwing the football, Voch is absolutely right. They're going to be if in fact Cam Jurgens doesn't play at center, they're going to be compromised at center. They just do not run the ball very well without him being in there. They really haven't run it all that well overall. I think all these carries this back has taken through last year and through their Super Bowl run, congratulations. They did get a Super Bowl win, but I think it's affecting how they're playing offense right now. But they are compromised in probably 3 different spots along this offensive line. The strength of this Dallas defense is clearly its defensive line now with the players that they've added and some of the bodies coming back. We'll see again. We mentioned about Solomon Thomas. I reached out while we were talking. Look for him to practice today. Look for him to practice tomorrow with the expectation of him playing. So that's kind of where they're at right now on that one. So hopefully, like I say, he would be a great addition. Then it becomes about who will be an inactive for this game coming up. But the strength of the Cowboys right now is that interior of their defensive line going against a compromised Philadelphia Eagle offensive line.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I look at how that defensive interior played in this last game. You add Solomon Thomas to that, man, you looking really good. You should be able to match up with almost any offensive line in the National Football League with that kind of defensive front. We will see how much that affects the back end, because I do think there were some effects that related to what was happening up front and what we saw on the back end this last game as well. We'll take our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the Philadelphia defense versus the Cowboys offense. I want to start with you guys telling me a little bit about what you saw in the first matchup, particularly with the Philadelphia defense, and how it matched up with the Cowboys offense, and what may have changed since that time. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman here, the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. This holiday season, I've got Yeti's new insulated bowls and food storage working overtime. The insulated bowls are amazing. It'll keep queso warm or guacamole fresh. And the food storage containers protect my ingredients and help me stay organized. They also make great gifts for the host, making Yeti bowls and food storage MVPs for the holidays. Get yours at Yeti.com or a Yeti store near you.
I'm home.
Hey, Mom, before you ask, I've done my homework and the dishwasher's unloaded.
Nice. Hey, can you... Hey, hon, yes, I've got the finale ready to play. Here's your wine.
Wow. Isn't it nice not having to ask? We think so. That's why if there's a network interruption, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service, guaranteed. Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or for wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for details.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as calling the coin toss. Take 5 is the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit take5.com to find a location near you. Offer valid through December 31st, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Valid only at participating locations.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at LG.com.
Welcome back.
You look like you want to blame me. You look right at me like it's my fault. I didn't do nothing.
Welcome back with the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. This segment is brought to you by blockchain.com.
Yeah.
You need to do your job. All right, let's talk about the Eagles from week 1. Tell me what you remember about that game from the standpoint of the Philadelphia defense that may have changed going into this game.
It was
You
10
can
weeks.
spit the truth. You know what I'm saying?
It was 10 weeks ago. But if I remember correctly, Mr. Eagleton.
Yeah.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah,
that is.
I remember Adoree Jackson being a bit of a target.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, he still won.
Yeah.
I think in the past couple of weeks, I think he's done better versus the Lions and Green Bay Packers. I watched those games in particular.
Yeah.
They're the last two games, and they're the talent playoff type teams that they're against or whatever. So just kind of see how it looks there. But Adoree Jackson played decently versus those guys. I recall early in the Cowboys administration, or just this year, that Pickens was like the go get the PI guy, but he didn't really have a big role besides that. I think
he wasn't what he is now.
Dak and Pickens definitely grew over time. They didn't have that kind of relationship week one. And then also Terry and Arnold didn't travel with Lamb at first. And Lamb got like 115-something receiving yards in the first half or something like that. And then
Quinell Mitchell.
Mitchell. Who I say?
Arnold from the Detroit Lions.
They all the same people. Mitchell, Kenyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
He didn't travel with Lamb at first.
Yeah.
Then he eventually traveled with Lamb. I think if you pull that move, then you will just go to the other guy now.
Absolutely.
Because now Dak is kind of lined up with both of them.
Yes, sir.
Last time Jalen Carter didn't play.
Because
of a pregame loss. I don't want to say because it sounds so crazy just saying it, man. But
hey, man, it seems like it's a natural thing that's happening in the NFL these
that's
days.
ridiculous.
People just grown men spitting on other grown men.
They should take helmets off and like box and stuff will happen.
Did you hear what Mike Tomlin said?
What did he say?
He said the advice I have is you spit on another man. Hey, do whatever nature tells you to do.
Go box.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, I agree with
and
him.
you
Like,
won't spit on nobody no more.
At that point, it's like we are.
Ben Johnson agreed with him.
We're just two grown men, and now we got to handle up. I guess
Cameras ain't got to be there. Just find a little corner.
Whatever it is.
Jalen Carter didn't play for you last time, but he's going to be around this time. On that same token, I think the Cowboys as an offensive line has gelled a bit more and kind of figured out an identity. And the Cowboys' identity as an offensive line now is we're really physical running the football. Across the board. That's from Tyler Guyton all the way to Terrence Steele. There's going to be issues, pass blocking here or there, gap exchanges, turning, and things like that. But at least the Cowboys have an identity now, into where week one they really did not. And I think the Cowboys, please.
Well, let me ask you this question. When you say that, I look at this defensive front, and this is also a big, powerful, aggressive, violent defensive front. How does Dallas match up in that way? I know they want to be aggressive, they want to be violent, they want to be able to get a push, but does that work against this defensive front?
Luckily for us, Cooper Beebe's playing, Tyler Booker's playing, and Big Tyler's playing. Honestly, I think that the Broncos front is tougher to push around than this front. Like you've seen tougher fronts.
Yeah.
Carolina got a tougher front to kind of push around. I think if you just kind of deal with Jalen Carter, and there's some people that'll debate him in the run game type stuff. If you deal with Jalen Carter, you'll be fine. Jalen Phillips, the edge that they just brought up, is a much better run defender than Nolan Smith was in week one. So now Terrence and whoever tight ends over there got a responsibility for him. But Guyton versus Jalen Hunt, I think that's a good matchup for us. Our guys versus Jordan Davis, Jordan gets going versus these other teams, but just versus us, if we're powerful moving forward, he's not that big of an issue. It's more so Jalen Carter's quickness that the Cowboys have to deal with. And if they can deal with that, I'm just running the football all day. Plus the linebacker situation is different. Dean's playing really good football.
There you go.
Trotter was a rookie week one, so you can kind of take advantage of him a little bit. But go get Dean.
You're right about the linebackers. Jihad Campbell made the start, and it was his first start. But everything you walked us through is absolutely right. That the linebacker spot is the different spot. You'll have to deal with the defensive tackles. Phillips has been a really good addition for them. He has. He is a guy that, and I know when I could say when we talked about him on other platforms, because we didn't talk about him on this platform, we kind of thought about guys that were at other teams. But we had in mind that this guy would probably be available, and Dallas was a team that maybe was thinking about it. So I did some film work on him when he was playing with the Dolphins, and he is a very good player, and he gives them an element that they've really been kind of struggling with right now. There have been times where you thought, man, this is a team that's really good at rushing the passer. They like to rush four. That's kind of their MO. They're not a big blitzing team. So they want to try and get you with four and then play the coverage on the back end. But Phillips has done a really good job of playing the run and then also, though, rushing the passer and giving him that element as that complete edge.
Do you expect to see him mainly on the side of Steele or on the side of Guyton?
Steele.
And so that matchup.
Yeah. And Voch this morning when we were doing our show, beforehand was talking about, do you treat him like you would Max Crosby? With the way when we came in here on Tuesday and we're kind of breaking things down, we were saying 7 different guys went after Max Crosby in that football game. And so maybe some of the same things you're thinking about, just don't turn this into 80% of Terrence Steele having to take care of Phillips in this football game. Your pull, your peel back game was good. Your chip game was good. Your spacing game was good. If you're going to play some of these better edges, I think Dallas has got a pretty good plan of how they want to handle these guys. Like all the things I just walked you through, I think that we could say the same thing about Phillips here.
Do you worry about doing something like that at the expense of, like, again, when you played Las Vegas, you didn't have a Jalen Carter sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
So you could pay a lot of attention to Max Crosby.
Right.
In this instance, you still got Jalen Carter to deal with as well. Can you afford to devote that many resources to trying to deal with dealing with Jalen Phillips?
So what they'll do is, one way that they dealt with Crosby is that they'll down block BB, pull Smith.
Right.
Smith will go and deal with Max or whoever, however they deal with it. I wouldn't leave BB one-on-one to kind of deal with Carter in that way, depending on what gap he's in. If he happens to be in A gap, that's an easier reach for a BB because it's right there. I wouldn't mind it then. If Carter is in B gap, or further on the tackle, I wouldn't want BB to reach all the way to that 4. So maybe
because he penetrates really well and he's quick.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also too. I mean, I know we having this conversation, we're analyzing or whatever. Jalen Phillips is great, but he ain't Max Crosby.
Right. Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying?
But he is one of their better pass rushers.
He's one of their better pass rushers.
And to your point about the pull and stuff, I think that you want to think about it from the Smith peel than you do Booker peel, because Smith in space better, in my opinion, than Booker having to do stuff if you block down and then try and kick out. But I think you can throw a lot of different looks at these guys. They've proven that they can. They just don't let these edge rushers get an idea that, okay, it's one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one. Make them have to deal with a lot of different blocks in these games. It helps you in the long run with your pass protection.
If you want an example of that, look at how the Cowboys dealt with the Giants. And the Giants may not be a great team or whatever, but they got Dexter Lawrence in the middle and they got 2 great pass rushers on the outside.
Right.
And they kind of did what they had to do to deal with Lawrence, and they lived with the idea that it could be dangerous on the outside. But Dak is fine with that. Dak is fine stepping up and moving around. Just don't let Dexter Lawrence get crazy on you, and we can deal with maybe Burns hitting us a little bit or maybe a pressure from the outside or whatnot. I think the same thing kind of applies here. I would trust Terrence and Terrence and Schoonmaker Terrence and maybe running back Chip to deal with Phillips and the right side of the offense or whatnot. But I really want to make sure Jalen Carter doesn't break the game for us.
As we watched that game in week 1, it seemed like the Cowboys offense, really both offenses, were just on a roll before that rain delay. Do you expect that to continue in this game where Dallas is able to just kind of move the ball at will like they did in that game? Or do you think Jalen Carter and Jalen Phillips make that much of a difference to where this is a much more methodical game? Maybe Dallas has to play it a little differently.
I think when the Cowboys want to run the football, it take a lot of people to stop them from running the football.
Yeah.
And I think now this current configuration of the Cowboys, if we're allowed to run the football on you, then the passing game is going to be there. The only time the Cowboys have been stopped is when you get the Cowboys out of the run game, and that could be game flow, the other team scoring, or Shotty got mad. Like he'll tell us.
Yeah, he'll say,
Shotty got mad,
I just threw the ball.
and just started throwing the football and just got away from the run. If the Cowboys score early, and I think this is going to be important for both sides of the ball. The Cowboys scoring early keeps the game flow in control. You know what I'm saying? So even if the Eagles do score, all right, it's an even game now. We still get to run the football. If you fall behind, the run game goes away, and then now they can put extra people on Pickens and stuff like that. What you ultimately want is for them to bring another guy down into the box. That's the best way to handle it. Dean and Bond, they're solid, but I got faith that the Cowboys can climb to the next level and deal with those guys. If you could do that and just let Pickens do his thing, because Dak and Pickens exist now. It didn't exist in week 1 like that. Pickens ran one route, go ball. Now we got slants, we got hitches, we got some crosses, we got outs now. And then I would imagine that they'll do something to take Pickens away, because they're a very reactive defense when they adjust. Then I think you get a big CD game in the second half, if I had to guess.
Random question.
Juntas.
So
That means question.
I got that.
Are you going for it with now the defense that the Cowboys currently have? Are you guys going for it on 4th down?
Man, I'm not trusting Flus and them people, man. I need a couple more.
The same situation presents itself.
The Raiders were really bad in 4th down. They were giving up a conversion rate of about 83%. So this group's a little bit different when it comes to that. I mean, this group can handle that pretty well, I think. So I would be very mindful of. I think it's game flow, game situation to figure that out.
And bro, the other team is gonna score 40 points until the Cowboys show me different. That's how I feel.
So you got nothing out of that Vegas game as far as
I got plenty.
Defense is better.
I got plenty.
Okay.
I think they're great. I think if you dominate in the middle,
yeah,
and Quentin Williams allowed everybody to go home.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark back home, man. Osa back home. I think that's gonna be massive.
Yeah.
Me and Bryan broke down some film yesterday. We keep talking about this podcast we can't talk about. Me and Bryan broke down film yesterday. And we watched Overshown in open space make a decision.
Yeah.
To not take the cheese. Because what they did was the Raiders put a wide receiver on Logan Wilson. And it was going to be wide open behind Overshown. Other linebackers would have took the cheese and just let Trey run wide open there. Overshown stayed patient and stayed back to take away Trey with Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Geno checked down, Overshown ran. And I'm like,
yeah, I saw that play, yeah.
I'm like, sir, and ma'am, sir. They doing different things on defense now. You just kind of got to show me first. You know what I mean? You just got, because all you've been doing all year has been getting whooped up on. If the Cowboys hold the Eagles to 15 points, because I think that's fair. That's kind of who they are. 21 points. If the Cowboys hold them to 15, 21 some points, now we could talk a little bit about, being less aggressive or whatever.
See, I think to me too in this game what will be interesting is because of how well Dallas plays their run game is, but how well they play out play action. And if you watch Philadelphia and how they deal with play action, because this is a strength of Dak Prescott. I mean, his ability, I was always worried about his ability to turn his back to the defense and then find everybody. But that's not the case anymore. And the Philadelphia Eagles have really, really struggled on teams that have play action. Almost 18 yards of play when it comes to, in the way they've had the coverage. And, Vic Fangio, they like to try and keep everything in front and, rally to the ball and play that shell look and all that. But the one thing Dallas has is Dallas has that ability to play a very good play action game. And if Philadelphia is not going to play well against it, I could see Dallas run the ball, and then all of a sudden take a shot, run the ball. I mean, Dallas could come in this game and be very balanced if they want to. I feel, and like if they're going to win the game, I think they're almost going to have to. Sure. But to your question, Amber, I don't, like I say, I think it needs to be, Shotty's even admitted it, he's conservative to the point. Like he hears his dad in his head, take the points, punt it, take the points, punt it. So the Raiders, like I said, the Raiders were a terrible team on 4th down. This team's a little bit different. So, but I'll say this though, I think points are going to be important.
Yeah.
I think you need to be very mindful of like if you can kick a field goal, kick it, and then go play defense. Because Philadelphia hasn't scored a lot of points here the last few weeks.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, make sure you get points, play the best defense you can, and just try and keep scoring points and put a lot of pressure on Philadelphia's offense.
All right, well, let's take our final break. When we come back, I want to dive a little deeper into the running offense and talk a little bit about what you saw from them in the Las Vegas game, and how much is Malik Davis going to factor in now that they're out of elevations for him? What happens at this point? Is he a person that they maybe need to put on the active roster, and what does that mean for Jaden Blue? We'll talk about all that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united. It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
I'm home. Hey, Mom, before you ask, I've done my homework and the dishwasher's unloaded.
Nice. Hey, can you... Hey, hon, yes, I've got the finale ready to play. Here's your wine.
Wow. Isn't it nice not having to ask? We think so. That's why if there's a network interruption, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service, guaranteed. Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or for wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for details.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
Make a new friend based solely on their shirt choice. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Back to the break.
Kids without lanes.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Hey, look, Baby just been hitting the button lately. You don't wait till we shut.
He's tired of y'all. He's tired of y'all.
He said, "You're back."
He said, wear your headphones. He said, wear your headphones so you know when we're going live.
As you don't have on your headphones.
But I put him on like this, and I listened to Chris.
All right.
I wouldn't let her talk to me like this.
Hey, man, it is what it is.
How did I talk to him?
If I'm in charge.
It is what it is.
If she worked that crown, I
Well,
wouldn't
thank God you're not in charge here.
I wouldn't let her talk.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
I got you, man.
I let people be themselves. All right, we're in the final segment of the break.
Is that a great thing?
It's obvious by the way this show's constructed.
I don't know, but it is how I do it.
This show has been a mess as I got
Why are you always attacking?
Hey, that's how we roll,
Why are you
bro.
always attacking?
I'm sorry, let's see.
All right, final segment of the break, live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's talk about the running game.
Yeah.
As you guys were talking about, this is the Cowboys have throughout this season been able to impose their will and run the ball when they're willing to run the ball. Sometimes the game has gotten away from them. They weren't be able to do that. But pretty much they've been able to run the ball whenever they choose to. That being said, where do you think right now, what do you think is the strength of this running game? If you had to say, okay, these are the kinds of plays that when they do this, they can rely on this. It's going to be there because this is what they do really well.
I'm not going to say Mike McCarthy's name. But I think that this
As you say, Mike McCarthy.
I think this coaching staff had a plan to run the football with real intention. If you ask previous administrations, is what I would call them. We have great beat writers that work here with us, great media people, journalists, and all that. And they say, "Hey, last administration, what's up with the run game?" And he'll be like, well, we gonna fix it. We got the right people to fix it. We gonna show up and work hard. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like they asked Shadi one time and they asked Clayton again, and you can tell some's an answer that they talked about it 5 people kind of all said in their different interviews. Well, they want to be intentional. They want to be physical. They want to move the line of scrimmage, and they want to do play action off of that. Mm-hmm. That's the answer that, and the previous administration don't give you answers like that. Mm-hmm. So I think what works is a big pot of soup, which is like, man, we got great receivers that y'all got to deal with. We got physical offensive linemen that y'all got to deal with. We got a running back that's hard to tackle. And we got a quarterback that was perfect on play action, like, 18 for 18 in the past couple games, something like that. Perfect on play action and actually connects on deep ball when he does it. Yeah. I think all those things come together to make this big pot of run game for us.
And that's what makes the run game special.
And that's what makes it special. Plus, like, Clayton Adams' designs are ridiculous as well. I feel like in previous administrations, they were running some run stuff that I was running in high school. You know what I'm saying? And shouts out to Duke Manuel. I always listen to him. Like, O-line evolves. You know what I'm saying? Like, every 4 or 5 years it evolves. So some of the stuff that Bryan did or some stuff that Nate Newton did as an offensive lineman are not things that I'm doing, which are totally different than a current offensive line is doing. And run schemes the same way. I never would have thought on a passing play a guard will pull wide just to, and we ain't even faking counter or nothing. I just want you pulling wide just to do it. So I think Clayton is just doing a bunch of different creative things that, previous administrations would be kind of old school,
I think they got better at blocking, point of attack, blocking tight end.
That's facts too.
I think all of a sudden, if you
was that personnel or was that different personnel?
Spanford
or was that just
figured
those
it
guys
out.
Got better.
Spanford went from Minnesota. Boy, this is one of the better blocking tight ends in the draft. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, first year. Well, where's this big blocking tight end guy? It took him a year. He came in here and he kind of figured it out. Man, I guarantee pro personnel guys around the league, when you asked him, like, who are the better blocking tight ends in the league, Spanford's name gets thrown out there quite a bit because he's developed that kind of – I'll tell you the biggest thing is you've committed to running the football. You actually, to Voch's point, you've committed to running the ball. There's no more lip service to it anymore. It is actual run the football. And you've got the line, you've got the point of attack tight end, and you've got a back. And you've got and you've got play callers that are willing to do it and do it and do it and do it. And so that to me was, like you say, talk about the personnel, but the commitment to actually making it work, I think, is the biggest difference from this team right now.
Yeah. What was the original question?
Don't
I'm
worry
just
about it.
kidding. I'm messing.
She ain't playing.
No, I am playing. I am playing.
Well, go ahead and answer me.
No.
Quit stalling. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead, answer.
no.
Answer,
I was
please.
listening. I mean, great points. Because when you go back to McCarthy and we talked about it, people are saying you
You're
haven't.
killing this dude, man.
No, hold on. People are saying in the chat it had been a while since you mentioned McCarthy.
And then
he
you
had-
mentioned McCarthy.
I ain't saying nothing about that, man.
But going back to y'all's point, it wasn't until half of the year when we started seeing, oh my God, what's his name?
You pulling a
So
Derek.
running,
Say the Spanish.
running back.
Williams?
Rico Dowdle?
We talking about Javon?
Dowdle.
Oh, Dowdle, okay.
Dowdle. No.
Dalvin Cook.
I had Pollard in my head.
Alvin Cook.
No.
They was so wrong by Dalvin.
They were.
And I was mad as hell about it. I'm sorry, Ambar. Go ahead.
That it wasn't until half of the season when they started to commit to the run and it finally started working. And we're like, whoa, what the heck? Like, we're not crazy. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the year. Why wasn't it
They didn't
not
listen
going?
to the break.
It just wasn't. It was a lack of commitment to it. And looking at now, even this year,
Yeah.
the passing game has not suffered from it.
Right.
They're both working for them. So it's not like just because you decide to commit to the run, it's going to take away from the passing game. So again, just to clear, you're seeing
make a
it.
great point
You're
every
seeing
day.
it this year that you can benefit from both things at once, and they're both doing really, really good.
Remember that one time Mike McCarthy got mad at us, asking about the run game, and he made Kellen run the ball like 9 times in a row? Like, here, damn. Y'all remember that? Chat, y'all remember that? I was so mad. I'm like, bro, you just run the ball just to run the ball. And Ambar made fantastic point, by the way. The passing game used to suffer.
Yeah.
When the Cowboys try to force the run. Man, please. But now everything is lockstep with each other. So fantastic point, Ambar.
So where does Malik Davis fit at this point? He is out of elevations. He is the guy that was the primary backup running back last week. What do you think? What do you think they do at this point with him?
You tell them what they're going to do.
Look at his lips.
Me tell him?
Tell them what they're going to do.
I think they're going to cut somebody and put him on the team, Brian. I think Derek Eagles, I think he's earned his way on this roster. And
Okay.
I talked to some people in the organization.
You got a gold phone now?
It ain't that much.
Wait, hold on. Did you confirm with multiple sources?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course I did. My phone's gold plated. It ain't
Gold plated. You haven't gotten to the gold. You just gold plated.
I'm the only one with the gold.
Yeah, okay.
He's got
Just
the
making
gold
sure.
plated.
I think there's going to be a roster move, and Malik Davis is going to be one of us. He's going to be on the team. I think he's
One
gonna
of
be,
us.
I think he's going to be RB2.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's going to be RB2.
I think Voch is absolutely right. I think Davis is going to become a priority here.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to figure out a way to do it, and we'll see.
So what does that say about Jaden Blue, though? I think that's the part where everybody was expecting he was going to at the very least be your number 2 running back.
Okay. This is where I need to correct myself.
Okay.
Okay. Because I felt like that Jaden Blue was probably not carrying it from the classroom to the practice field to the game field. That's just not the case at all. There needs to be a level of maturity. There needs to be a level of preparation and care and go into.
Being a pro.
Be a pro. be a pro. There's a lot of things about people ask us about Phil Maffa all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a different element there. There's a different element there, but they're going to, as Voch told you, and I think he's absolutely right, they're going to make a move at probably one of these defensive positions and then get him on. I think Davis is the priority, but like I say, with Blue, I was questioning whether he was picking things up mentally, and that's not the case. That's not the problem. It's you have to go be a pro, and he's lacking that right now is the biggest problem. So that's where you're at.
Well, I will say this. Obviously,
wrong.
That if that is the case, then I applaud Shotty, because Shotty is, in that instance, he has a standard, and he's making everybody hold true to that standard, as he did with his 2 wide receivers last week. There's a standard, and you're going to have to meet the standard. So if that is true, I certainly love that the coach is setting that standard and forcing people to meet up to it.
Honestly, what I personally think, I think it's that same dynamic with Winfrey and maybe Mozzie. You know what I'm saying? Mozzie's not working no more. Yeah. But it's like one dude is like fighting for his life to do something. Like, man, I got a shot. I'm coming from this other football league. I was in the league, not in the league. I got to give everything I got. Yeah. And one guy is just kind of like pouting on the sideline. I think Malik Davis was called from the crib.
Yeah.
And he was ready. For
and by the way, may not have known if he was going to get another shot. So when he got that call, it's like, oh, okay.
Because he's constantly going and back. Like, he's roster gymnastic guy.
Yeah.
But when you a dude that's like hungry like that, it's different from a guy that wears Louis sneakers or Louis cleats as a 5th round.
Nothing wrong with Louis cleats, but I see your point.
I want to see you earn your way, Mr. You know what I'm saying? If CD and GP go out, football's like that.
Yeah.
Man, if you the superstar.
You got so made fun of online for those cleats.
They were good look. They were good look.
They did look good. They did look good. But I know, that's also.
If I get this in purple and white, that'd be great.
When you're not even really playing that much and do that, like you're going to get some of that.
You can still dress up however you want.
No, I'm not saying he did anything wrong necessarily. I'm just saying you're going to get some blowback. That's how the internet is.
We're going to look right, because that's football. It's always been football. If you the 3rd string guy, what you asking for the nice helmet for?
Yeah.
What you asking for? What you mean you want a visor? Every level of football is like that. What you want all this for? You know what I mean? You don't even know.
The equipment men look at you kind of funny.
That's real.
Like I was a deep snapper, and like, you want what?
Overshown.
And I'm like, I just thought I would ask. And they're like, no, you don't need to ask that.
You're like, I'm sorry.
I would turn around and go, okay, thanks. And I'd put on my bad pants and go out there.
Didn't fit. Just like,
the pads were all skew. And
Demo can wrap all the tape around his arms he wants to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Fingers, everything. He
can do whatever. Some people wasting tape. Other people wasting tape. So when I see Malik Davis just ready to go, all the time. Shouts out to him. I want to take a moment to like.
No, you're right. You're not right. You're wrong.
Malik is doing his thing.
Off the couch, got into a preseason game, got like 90-something yards in the preseason
He's about to be active.
Went back
Then
away.
McCarthy forgot about him.
100%.
But the thing about it, he was
ready.
At one point early in his career, we were all looking at him like, that kid's got a little something.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, it seemed like he got into the coach's doghouse, and they weren't willing to play him.
Yeah. And shouts out to Malik, and hey, Blue, I hope it worked out for you. And maybe this is the reason why you were a 3rd round grade on some boards, and maybe you fell a little bit. I want you to just work on what you work on, so that when you get here, you can be great, because we know that you can be great.
But to that point, maybe that's also the maturation period that Malik Davis went through, and now we're seeing
because he's a veteran technically.
Right. So maybe this is what Jaden Blue has to go through in order to get to the point where he's going to get those opportunities as well. I still think the guy has talent. He has crazy talent. So I think he's going to have to learn how to do this thing, and once he figures it out, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take that's it.
We'll take our ass home.
Yeah, we are. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll wrap this thing up, let you know what we think is going to happen on Sunday when the Cowboys take on the Eagles. Till then, from Voch, Lombardi, Bryan, Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Rico Dowd should be running back too.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!